Hello everyone and welcome back. This is the first video that I'm doing, which is along the lines of food and just exploring the history and the various cultures that exist in food. So for the first video of the series, I just wanted to pick on something that is sweet, flaky, chocolatey, and also it's been misnamed to an extent because it's not called a chocolate croissant. Yes, today I will be talking about the pan au chocolat. I thought it would be interesting to tackle because it's often called a chocolate croissant. It's not actually a chocolate croissant because the word croissant in French translates directly to crescent in English. So any pastry that is shaped like a crescent would be called a croissant, and a pan au chocolat is not shaped like a crescent. So let's just get into it. So a pan au chocolat essentially is a pastry which is created using croissant dough and 2 bars of semi-sweet chocolate. Now, what is croissant dough? Croissant dough is similar to what we know as puff pastry. It's that pastry that, when you bake it, it kind of puffs up and forms these wonderful layers inside the confection. So croissant dough is that, but with the additional component of yeast. So how they make it is you add flour, milk, water, yeast, obviously, and butter. And then you combine that and then you incorporate it and then you create a dough. And then what's unique and what gives it those layers that you see in a croissant and a pan au chocolat is the process of lamination. So what happens is you roll the dough out, then you add a whole slab of butter in the middle. Yes, it's luxurious. And then you kind of fold in the slab of butter and then you roll the dough out again. And this is ideally continued till the point that there is like 27 kind of layers formed inside the dough. So yeah, it's a complex process. Once the dough is rolled out and has undergone these like 27 laminations, it's cut out into these rectangles and then it's rolled with the 2 bars of semi-sweet chocolate within it, and then it's baked in the oven, and there is your pan au chocolat. Now, the reason I actually wanted to cover this is because I wanted to address that it's called pan au chocolat and not chocolate croissant because, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, it's not croissant shaped. It's not crescent shaped. So that's the main thing, and that's what I thought was the main prevailing dispute about pan au chocolat, but apparently that's not the case. I dove a bit deeper into this and I found that there has been a debate ensuing about what the name of this pastry actually is. Many people think that it's called pan au chocolat, which translates to bread with chocolate, and this term is used in a large part of France, and it's what people outside of France also know the pan au chocolat to be. However, there is another term that's used for the pan au chocolat. It's called a chocolatine, and that is used by people more towards the southwest of France in places like Bordeaux, where that is the term that's used to denote a pan au chocolat. They're virtually identical. There is nothing that really differentiates a pan au chocolat from the chocolatine. But it's just interesting because this debate actually made it into French Parliament. This was debated in the legislature, and the case was that the term chocolatine should be protected and more given impetus and pushed out there because it denoted something that was integral to the values of the dish or something along those lines. There has been research, and like I looked into food historian Jim Chevalier. He's actually found that there is a bit of historical backing to the use of the term pain au chocolat, the first mention of which relating to the confection we know today has been approximately in the 1950s. Like, over the course of time, pain au chocolat as a term has meant a lot of things. There have been dishes which include ladyfinger. There have been recipes which are essentially that for a chocolate mousse, but they're termed pain au chocolat. And there's literally one recipe which is literally a hollowed out loaf of bread with chocolate in the middle, which I'm not complaining. I'd actually go for that. But around the 1950s or so, pain au chocolat has come to mean the confection we know using croissant dough and 2 bars of chocolate. So what about the term chocolatine? So Chevalier finds that this term chocolatine has more often than not been used to refer to a certain sort of chocolate candy. It dates back to like the 1830s, where there have been mentions of the term chocolatine being used as referring to a chocolate candy. And there's a chocolate liquor that is also called chocolatine, which was released around like the 1850s, if I'm not wrong. And there were also chocolate covered medicines, obviously as an incentive for children to take medicines. They were covered in chocolate, and those have also been referred to as chocolatines. It was only in 1980 that a particular novel refers to the chocolate puff pastry creation that this video is about as a chocolatine rather than the pain au chocolat. As it appears to be the case, there is clearly a dispute as to whether this popular pastry is called a pain au chocolat or a chocolatine. But one thing is definitely certain. It is not a chocolate croissant. Anyways, that's it for me. I hope that this has been informative for you and you've learned something, because I sure have learned a lot just in the research of this video. So if you want to read a bit more about the history of the pain au chocolat, I will put a couple of links down below and you can like check them out for yourselves. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think this pastry should be called, because I'm curious and I'd like to hear your perspective on it. And that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what I should do next, what I should cover next in the comments below. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you guys next time.